Welcome back, friends. Today we are making another fall dessert. This is sometimes referred to as pumpkin delight. It is super easy to make. It came together in no time at all. And this is the perfect lighter dessert if you want to take to like a fall get together or maybe have it Thanksgiving. You have so much other food at Thanksgiving and just want a lighter dessert. This is absolutely perfect. You can use store-bought pumpkin. I did make my own, and I'm going to show you exactly how I made this, so let's get started. So there you can see the cinnamon with the toasted pecans. I think this will give it just that little bit of extra texture, crunch, a little bit more flavor. Not that this dessert needs it, but I definitely don't think you'll regret doing it. Going to start by making the graham cracker crust. The first thing I did was put a stick of butter in the pan and melted it. Next, I took 2 packets of graham crackers. These are just honey flavored regular graham crackers. Crushed them and mixed them in with the melted butter and 1/4 cup of sugar. Once that was all mixed in together, I used the back of a spoon. You can use a spatula. Once it is pressed down very good, we're just going to put that in the oven for about 10 minutes at 350 degrees. Now that that is done, we are just going to set it aside and let it fully cool. And while it is cooling, we can go ahead and get started on the cream cheese layer. It is literally just cream cheese and powdered sugar and Cool Whip too. We are going to start with softened cream cheese. I just took this out of the fridge maybe 20 minutes ago and just let it warm up a little bit. That'll make it a lot easier to mix. First, I'm gonna go ahead and give that a quick mix. We will use a spatula to scrape the sides down as we go, just to make sure it all gets mixed in really good. I'm going to add 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. That is why I do this step in the sink. Now that we have the cream cheese, sugar all combined, we are going to fold in. We're just going to use Cool Whip for this. And we are going to use a whole 8-ounce container. I've had this sitting out now for at least 20 minutes, maybe closer to a ½ hour. And that'll make it really easy to fold into the cream cheese. As you can see, it just comes right out. So I'm just gonna dollop that kind of over the cream cheese. And then we are just going to gently incorporate that, kind of fold it into the cream cheese layer. So what I like to do is just kind of spin it around like so and just work on folding it in. What I really like about this recipe is it is all very easy stuff to find at a grocery store. I find that if I watch recipes and it's a different ingredient that I might not be able to find at my regular stores I visit, there's less of a chance I'll make it. So that's one thing that's nice about this recipe. Right now, I actually have my graham cracker crust cooling outside. It is 40 degrees outside and there's a little very slight breeze going on. So I figured it would cool down a lot quicker out there than in here, and it won't heat the fridge up if I put it in there. I feel like this is good. So I'm gonna go check on that crust and see if it's cooled down enough, and we will go from there. All right, our graham cracker crust is finally cool. And something just kind of fun about this, I put it outside to cool because it's a cooler fall day out and the breeze it's a little bit breezy, so it cooled in no time at all. And I just think it's cool that I let fall help bake this dish. I mean, I know it just sat outside, but fall helped me get there. So it's just kind of a good feeling to know that a little bit of the season went into making this. So I'm just gonna set that aside for now. Well, actually, we need that now. We're ready for it. So we're going to, I'm just gonna dollop this in to start with. Now that we got it all in there, I'm just gonna use the spatula to spread it around. We'll spread it all the way to the edge so that the layer is fully covered. Once it's all on, you'll just want to go around and make sure it's all evenly spread out. And that's all there is to it. Something you could do if this part got a little messy for you, and if you wanted to see good definition on the sides of your glass dish, you could get a wet paper towel and just go around the inside a little bit to get off any of the excess that might have crept up. This is going to go into the fridge while we get the next layer ready. This next layer is super easy. The first thing we're going to do is put 2 cups of pumpkin puree, or you could use 15 ounces, which would be what a typical can of pumpkin puree is. Since I am scooping this out of the bowl, I'm going to use 2 cups. In a previous video, we made pumpkin pies. That is what this leftover puree is from. I will link that in the description, but in that video, we made this pumpkin pie puree, and it's so easy. I highly recommend making your own from pumpkins if you have the opportunity to. We're gonna add 2 cups of milk. I haven't tested other milks out yet. I'm sure other dairy milk would probably be fine, at least 2%. If you do try something different, let me know. I would love to hear how it turned out. Next, we're going to add 2 packages of vanilla instant pudding. This is a 3.4 ounce box of instant vanilla pudding, and we're going to add 2 of them. And then 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. If you don't want it, I wouldn't say this is going to be very spicy, but you're definitely going to taste the spice in this. If you prefer a more mild flavor, I would do a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half. I wouldn't do the full teaspoons, but if you like pumpkin pie spice, if you like that flavor and you want to taste it, I say go for the 2 teaspoons. So then once we get that added, we are going to stir this until it is well incorporated. And I'm using a whisk to stir it. And now it is time to set it on top. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a spatula, and then we're going to literally pour it right on top. This smells absolutely phenomenal. I'm telling you, if you have a chance to make your own puree, I highly recommend it. It is so easy. It takes no time at all, and it is going to elevate this to the next level, I promise you. They always say everything's better made from scratch, and this pumpkin puree is no exception to that. So I'm gonna use the back of the spatula to spread that around. One thing I forgot to mention is I am using a deep dish Pyrex dish. You don't have to. It just makes it a little bit easier for getting stuff done without, you know, making a mess. But you can totally fit this in a normal size 9x13. Like to have the extra space to work with. All right, so we're gonna get that nice and smooth and spread it like so. And that is ready for the fridge. We're gonna let this set for at least a couple hours, ideally overnight if you can. The next step will be putting a layer of Cool Whip on top with our roasted pecans, which is a super easy step, but definitely one to not miss. So we will put this in the fridge and I will see you in the morning. Look at that layering. I could just scoop into this right now. It's so hard to resist, but we will wait. Now we are going to make the roasted pecan topping. I highly recommend this step. This is going to give the dessert a little bit of texture, a little bit of chewy crunch to the top. So I would definitely do this step if you can. We are going to start with 8 ounces of chopped pecans, and to that I'm adding about a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, a little bit of cinnamon, just a couple dashes as you will see here, and a little bit of salt. Once I get that all added, we're going to give it a stir and keep it on medium, slightly medium to low heat. Once it gets close to being done, I really like to keep an eye on it because it can burn really quickly once it's almost done. So in the middle, it's kind of already evaporated, but out towards the edge, it's not quite there yet. So I'm just gonna keep stirring it, and within a minute or two, it will be there. You can also see too that this is kind of starting to clump together, so that's a good sign that it is getting close to done. All right, and now you can see that the syrup is kind of like starting to crystallize on them. And that is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So I'm just gonna let it kind of do that everywhere, and then we will be good. All right, that looks perfect. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off and move this off of the heat onto a different spot. Let it cool, and those will be ready when we're ready for them. It has now been the next day, and we are ready to put the Cool Whip on top of the dessert and get this finished. So this has chilled overnight, so it is definitely ready for the next step. And then this has been in the fridge. It is essential to have this have been in the fridge. Definitely not frozen, or else it's not gonna work. It's not gonna spread on as easy. Perfect. This is straight out of the fridge. If it was frozen, it wouldn't work because it wouldn't spread on nice and easy. But all we're gonna do is just take some dollops and put that on top. We're gonna put the whole thing on. And then we're gonna go around real gently and spread it on. I am happy with that. The next thing I'm going to do, and this is optional, but I highly recommend, it just makes it that much prettier, I think, is we're going to add just a little bit of cinnamon at the top, and we're just gonna go on real lightly and add just a little bit, not too much because we already got seasoning in it. This is definitely just kind of more for looks. Definitely go on light because you can keep going on heavier, but if you just put it on, then it's gonna be hard to recover from that situation. I'm happy with that. You can stop there, or if you want to, we made those toasted pecans earlier, and I'm going to add those on the top. But if you want, you could do half of it. You could even wait until you go to serve it and then garnish each piece with these. I am gonna put these on the whole thing, so I can do it a little haphazardly at first, and then I'll just go through and fill in any gaps that I need to. I am happy with that. So we do have a lot of extra of these. We could have totally halved the recipe. I believe it was an 8-ounce bag. A 4-ounce bag would have definitely been more than enough, but these are so good just to eat. I am thinking about Christmas gift ideas, and these would be so good in like a mason jar, like a little ribbon tied around it, you know, a little gift from me to you. I would be so happy to receive that kind of a gift from someone. So anyhow, we'll be working on that kind of a video when it gets a little bit closer to Christmas, some like easy Christmas gifts to make. This might be one of them because it is so good. Anyways, back to our dessert here. I'll bring you in closer to show you what it looks like. So there you can see the cinnamon with the toasted pecans. I think this will give it just that little bit of extra texture, crunch, a little bit more flavor. And look at those layers. Like, you can already tell before you cut into this that this is going to be exciting. All right, I cannot wait another minute. Let's dig into this thing. I am so excited for this. If you are taking this to a party, one thing I recommend doing is cutting it before you go to the party. It just makes it that much easier for the guest to scoop out their individual servings. And as you can see, I got a little bit of pumpkin on here. So what I'll probably do is get a towel and wipe this off after each slice, just to make it continue to keep it looking pretty as we get it cut up. I have a white towel or a wet towel here, and what I will do is after each slice I will just go through and cut it, and probably should have started in half. You know, I'm gonna get a sharper knife. I'm mainly just getting cut through that graham cracker layer. Carry on. All right, let's get that first scoop out of there. And there we go. And there we have our first scoop. I cannot wait to bite into this. Oh, this is going to be so good. Without further ado, make sure to get some pecan in there and the graham cracker crust. That's a winner, you guys. That is so good. Oh my goodness. The pumpkin flavor is my favorite thing about this right now. It tastes so fresh. Absolutely like a fall dessert. The graham cracker crust. The crispy pecans on top. That's a winner. That is so, so good. If you take this somewhere, you're not gonna have any left, so just be warned. I warned you. All right, that's going to be it for another video, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while we make another fall dessert. I appreciate you being here. If you haven't had a chance yet, feel free to subscribe, and we will see you next week. Bye.